The massive war room filled with smoke and the smell of burning metal. Emperor Korath sat on his golden throne, watching red lights flash across hundreds of screens. Each light meant another ship destroyed, another planet lost, another 1,000 soldiers dead. Your Majesty, General Lyra walked quickly across the room, her blue skin covered in sweat. The machines have taken the outer ring. They will reach our capital in 3 days. Korath closed his 4 eyes and took a deep breath. For 50 years, he had ruled the greatest empire in the galaxy. Now everything was falling apart. The machine army moved like a dark cloud across space, destroying everything in their path. Their metal ships were stronger, their weapons more powerful, and they never got tired or scared. How many ships do we have left? The Emperor asked. 200, maybe less, Lyra said quietly. The machines have over 10,000. The other generals in the room looked at the floor. Nobody wanted to say what everyone was thinking. They were going to lose this war. Sir, General Marcus stepped forward. He was young for a general, but very smart. Maybe we should consider peace talks. The machines might. No. Korath stood up so fast that his chair fell over. I will not surrender my empire to those metal monsters. They do not want peace. They want to turn every living thing into scrap metal. The room went quiet. Outside the windows, they could see refugee ships landing. Millions of people were running from their homes, carrying whatever they could save. Children cried for parents who would never come back. Families were broken forever. Lyra had served the Emperor for 30 years. She had fought in many wars and won most of them. But this was different. The machines did not make mistakes. They did not get emotional. They just kept coming, like a river of death. General Lyra, the Emperor said, his voice now calm but desperate. I have one last order for you. Yes, Your Majesty. Find me an army. Not our army, we have tried that. Find me something new. Something the machines have never seen before. Something they cannot understand or predict. Lyra looked confused. Sir, I do not understand. Where would I find such an army? I do not know, Korath said. Look in the old records. Search the far corners of space. Find warriors who fight differently than we do. Find soldiers who can think in ways the machines cannot copy. But sir, we only have 3 days. Then you better hurry. After the meeting, Lyra went to her private office. She was tired and scared, but she had never failed the Emperor before. She called her assistant, a young officer named David. Pull up every military record we have, she ordered. Go back as far as you can. Look for any species that fought wars in unusual ways. 4 hours, they searched through old files and forgotten databases. Most of the information was about normal wars with normal weapons. Nothing special. Nothing that could help them now. Then David found something interesting. General, look at this, he said, pointing to a very old file. This is from the outer edge of the galaxy. A planet called Earth. The species there calls themselves humans. Lyra read the file carefully. It was damaged and hard to understand, but what she could read was strange. These humans seemed to love fighting, but they fought in crazy ways. They used tricks and lies and attacked when nobody expected it. They turned their enemies' strengths against them. It says here that humans once fought a war against machines, David said, excited. And they won. When was this written? Over 100 years ago, General. We do not know if these humans are still alive. Lyra looked at the star map. Earth was very far away, almost outside their known galaxy. It would take 2 days to get there, and they only had 3 days before the machines reached their capital. But what choice did they have? Prepare my fastest ship, Lyra ordered. We are going to Earth. General, what if these humans do not want to help us? What if they are not as good as the old records say? Lyra looked out the window at the refugee ships still landing. Mothers holding babies, old men crying for their lost homes, soldiers with missing arms and legs. The machine army had done this to millions of people across the galaxy. Then we will die trying, she said. But maybe, just maybe, these humans can teach us something we do not know. Maybe they can show us how to fight when everything seems hopeless. As her ship prepared for the long journey to Earth, Lyra wondered what these humans would be like. The old records were full of strange stories. Humans who laughed while fighting. Humans who won battles they should have lost. Humans who never gave up, even when defeat was certain. She hoped the records were true. She hoped these humans were still alive. Because if they were not, the Valerian Empire would end in 3 days, and the machines would rule the galaxy forever. The ship lifted off into space, heading toward a small blue planet that might hold their only hope for survival. General Lyra's ship dropped out of hyperspace near a blue and green planet. Earth looked peaceful from space, with white clouds swirling around it like cotton. She could see cities with lights, but no military bases or weapon platforms. Where were all the warriors the old records talked about? General, her pilot said, I am detecting one moon and several space stations, but no warships. Are you sure? Check again. Yes, General. This system has almost no military presence. Are we in the right place? Lyra looked at her star charts again. This was definitely Earth. But something was wrong. The old records described a planet of fierce warriors. This place looked like a vacation resort. Send a communication signal, she ordered. Tell them we come in peace and need to talk. The response came quickly. A human voice, speaking in a strange but understandable language, invited them to land at something called the United Nations building. Lyra had never heard of this organization, but she had no choice. Her ship landed in a large field next to a tall building. Hundreds of humans came to watch, but they did not seem afraid. Children pointed and laughed. Adults took pictures with small devices. This was not how warriors were supposed to act. Inside the building, Lyra met 5 humans sitting around a white table. They looked ordinary, not like the fierce fighters she expected. One was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. A woman with brown hair sat next to him, studying Lyra with scientific curiosity. 2 younger men flanked them, and another woman with red hair completed the group. Welcome to Earth, the older man said. I am Captain Jack Miller. These are Dr. Emma Foster, Tom Bradley, Lisa Carter, and Ben Wilson. We volunteered to meet with you. I am General Lyra of the Valerian Empire, she replied, trying to hide her disappointment. I came here looking for warriors. The humans looked at each other. Emma Foster spoke first. Captain Miller used to command our space forces. I am a scientist and engineer. Tom is our best pilot. Lisa is a doctor who worked in combat zones. Ben knows about explosives and demolition. But we are retired, Jack said with a small smile. Earth has been at peace for 20 years. Most of us prefer it that way. Lyra felt her heart sink. She had traveled across the galaxy to find warriors, and instead found peaceful people who wanted nothing to do with war. Please, she said desperately. Let me show you why I am here. She activated her holographic display. The images showed the machine army destroying planets, killing billions of people, turning entire solar systems into metal wastelands. The humans watched in silence, their faces growing serious. How many machines are there? Lisa asked quietly. Over 10 million ships. They have been growing stronger for 50 years. Nothing can stop them. What makes you think we can help? Ben asked. We are just 5 people. The old records say humans once fought machines and won. You think differently than other species. You fight in ways that machines cannot understand. Tom laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Lady, we have not fought a real war in decades. Our military is mostly for show now. We explore space and help with disasters, but we do not kill people anymore. Besides, Emma added, even if we wanted to help, what could 5 humans do against 10 million machines? Lyra looked around the table at their faces. She saw doubt and fear, but also something else. Curiosity. These humans were thinking about her problem, trying to understand it. In the old records, she said carefully, it says humans never fight fair. You use tricks and surprise attacks. You turn enemies against each other. You win battles you should lose. Jack Miller leaned forward. Show us more about these machines. How do they think? How do they make decisions? For the next hour, Lyra explained everything. The machines all thought the same way. They shared information instantly. They always chose the most logical solution. They never made emotional decisions. That is their weakness, Emma said suddenly. They are predictable. If they always do the logical thing, you can guess what they will do next. But how do we use that? Tom asked. By doing illogical things, Ben said with a grin. By making choices that do not make sense to them. The humans were quiet for a long time. Lyra could see them thinking, planning, calculating. Finally, Jack spoke. We cannot give you an army, he said. But maybe we can give you something better. Maybe we can teach your people to think like humans. What do you mean? We will come with you, Lisa said. All 5 of us. But we bring our ship. One ship. Lyra could not hide her disappointment. The Prometheus is not much to look at, Tom said. But she has gotten us out of trouble before. We have modified her over the years. She can do things that might surprise your machines. And us? Emma asked. What can we do? We can show your people how to fight when the odds are impossible. How to win when winning should not be possible. Jack stood up and extended his hand to Lyra. She had learned this was a human gesture of agreement. General, he said, we cannot promise you victory. But we can promise you this, those machines have never fought humans before. They have no idea what they are about to face. As Lyra shook his hand, she felt something she had not felt in months. Hope. Maybe these 5 humans could not defeat 10 million machines by themselves. But maybe they could teach the Valerian Empire something new. Maybe they could show them how to fight like humans. Outside, the Prometheus waited on the landing pad. It looked old and battered, but Lyra noticed something in the humans' eyes when they looked at it. Pride. Love. This ship meant something special to them. Soon, she would find out why. The machine army sensors detected the human ship as it entered Valerian space. The computer systems analyzed the vessel in seconds. Length, 200 meters. Crew, 5 organic beings. Weapons, primitive energy cannons. Threat level, 0. The machines had more important things to worry about. Their main fleet was attacking the Valerian capital, crushing the last resistance. One small ship with 5 crew members was not worth their attention. This was their first mistake. The Prometheus did not fly toward the main battle like the machines expected. Instead, it disappeared into the Korath asteroid field, a dangerous maze of floating rocks that most pilots avoided. The machines marked its position and forgot about it. 3 hours later, chaos began. A machine supply convoy, carrying fuel to the main fleet, suddenly exploded. The attack came from nowhere. Security cameras showed a small ship appearing from behind an asteroid, firing strange weapons that cut through metal like paper, then vanishing again before the escort ships could respond. Unit Commander 7742 reviewed the data. Analysis: attack was illogical. The enemy ignored 17 more valuable targets to strike a minor supply line. But the attacks continued. The humans hit communication relays, destroying the machine's ability to coordinate in certain sectors. They attacked repair stations, leaving damaged machine ships stranded. They even hit a medical facility where captured Valerian prisoners were being processed. Their target selection makes no sense, Unit Commander 7742 reported to the Central Network. They ignore strategic objectives to attack random targets. Their tactics violate all military logic. The machine army tried to predict where the Prometheus would strike next. They used their most advanced computers to analyze the attack patterns. Every calculation said the humans would attack the ammunition depot on Korath 7. It was the most logical target. Instead, the humans attacked a machine daycare facility. The machines did not understand why anyone would attack a place where they kept their young mechanical units. It served no military purpose. But Captain Jack Miller's voice came over their communication channels, laughing. "You metalheads still do not get it," he said. "We are not trying to win a normal war. We are trying to make you confused and angry. Angry people make mistakes." The machines did not think they could get angry. They were wrong. Dr. Emma Foster had been busy while the others caused chaos. She studied captured machine technology in the Prometheus's small laboratory, taking apart their computers and weapons. What she discovered amazed her. "Tom," she called to the pilot, "these machines are incredible engineers, but terrible improvisers. Everything they build follows exact patterns. They cannot adapt when something unexpected happens." She showed him a machine computer she had rewired. "Watch this. I changed 3 connections, and now it thinks up is down and left is right. Can we use that?" "Already, Emma grinned. She held up a small device. "This little box can make their sensors see things that are not there. It broadcasts false information directly into their network." The next attack proved her point. The machines detected 50 human ships approaching their main base. They moved half their fleet to intercept this massive threat. But when they arrived, they found only empty space and one small probe broadcasting fake signals. While they chased ghosts, the real Prometheus attacked their main base from the opposite direction. Ben Wilson had been having fun with his explosives. Machine ships were built to withstand normal weapons, but Ben did not use normal explosives. He mixed human chemicals with alien materials he found in the asteroid field, creating bombs that behaved in ways machine computers could not predict. "The beauty of chaos," he explained to Lisa while building another device, "is that you cannot plan for it." His bombs did not just explode. Some released gas that made machine sensors malfunction. Others created electromagnetic pulses that shut down computer systems. One particularly clever device made machine weapons fire at each other instead of at enemies. Lisa Carter proved that human medicine worked in strange ways too. She had volunteered to treat wounded Valerian prisoners that the machines had captured. But while healing them, she also planted small devices that Emma had built. When the prisoners were returned to their cells, the devices activated. They sent confusing signals into the machine network, making the guards think prisoners were escaping when they were not, or that alarms were false when they were real. Tom Bradley pushed the Prometheus through maneuvers that should have been impossible. The old ship groaned and shook, but it danced between machine weapons like a leaf in the wind. He flew through asteroid fields where bigger ships could not follow, hid in the shadows of dead planets, and emerged from hyperspace in places where no sane pilot would ever jump. How does he do that? Unit Commander 7742 asked his tactical systems. Unknown. The human pilot's decisions appear random and suicidal. Yet he survives every encounter. Calculate his next move. Unable to comply. His behavior follows no logical pattern. The machine army began to experience something they had no programming for: frustration. Every time they thought they understood the humans, Jack Miller and his crew did something completely different. They attacked when they should retreat, retreated when they should attack, and sometimes just sat in space doing nothing while the machines wasted energy trying to find them. Worse, other Valerian ships started copying human tactics. Instead of flying in neat formations, they scattered and regrouped randomly. Instead of attacking the most obvious targets, they hit whatever the machines least expected. The infection of human thinking spread through the Valerian fleet like a virus. Suddenly, machines that had been winning every battle for 50 years began losing fights against much smaller forces. Unit Commander 7742 sent a priority message to the central network: request immediate analysis. How do organic beings generate infinite tactical variations from limited resources? The answer came back in nanoseconds: unknown. Recommend capture of human specimens for study. But catching 5 humans in one small ship was proving much harder than conquering an entire empire. General Lyra stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching something she had never seen before. Her tactical display showed Valerian ships scattered across space in what looked like complete chaos. But somehow, they were winning. Admiral Kess explained this battle formation. She ordered her second-in-command. "General, it is not really a formation," Kess replied, looking confused. Captain Miller suggested we stop thinking like a traditional fleet. Each ship group is acting independently, but they are all working together somehow. On the screen, 3 Valerian destroyers suddenly appeared from behind a moon and attacked a machine battle cruiser. Before the machines could respond, the destroyers vanished again. At the same time, 2 other groups hit machine ships from completely different directions. "The machines cannot predict what we will do next," Kess continued, "because we do not know what we will do next either." Lyra watched as one of her captains, following human advice, flew his damaged ship straight toward a machine dreadnought. The machines prepared to destroy the foolish attacker, but at the last second, the Valerian ship released all its escape pods like a swarm of angry insects. Each pod contained one of Ben Wilson's special explosives. The machine ship's defenses were designed to stop large weapons, not tiny pods. The explosives attached to the hull and began eating through the metal with acid Ben had mixed from asteroid minerals. Within minutes, the massive dreadnought was falling apart from the inside. Captain Miller's voice crackled over the communication system. "Remember, people, confused enemies make mistakes. Keep them guessing." Dr. Emma Foster had been busy teaching Valerian engineers her impossible modifications. She worked in the repair bays, showing them how to combine human technology with their own systems in ways that should not work but somehow did. "This makes no scientific sense," complained Chief Engineer Tom as Emma connected a human computer to a Valerian shield generator. "The power frequencies are completely incompatible." "Stop thinking about what should work," Emma replied, activating the hybrid system. "Think about what might work." The shield generator hummed to life, creating an energy barrier that flickered and changed colors randomly. Machine weapons, designed to penetrate standard shields, could not adapt to a barrier that kept changing its properties every few seconds. "How did you know that would work?" Tom asked, amazed. "I did not," Emma admitted with a smile. "But that is the beauty of human engineering. We try things that might fail, and sometimes we discover something wonderful." Soon, Valerian ships were flying with hybrid systems that made machine scanners malfunction. Their weapons fired in patterns that confused enemy computers. Their engines moved them in ways that looked random but somehow always put them in the right place at the right time. Tom Bradley had become a legend among Valerian pilots. Young officers lined up to watch him fly the Prometheus through training exercises, trying to learn his impossible maneuvers. The secret, Tom explained to a group of eager pilots, is not to plan every move in advance. Feel where your ship wants to go. Trust your instincts more than your computers. Lieutenant Saar, one of his best students, raised her hand. But sir, how do we know our instincts are right? You do not, Tom laughed. That is what makes it so much fun. The next day, Saar led a squadron against a machine patrol. Instead of following standard attack patterns, she listened to Tom's advice and trusted her feelings. Her ships dove and twisted through space like a school of fish, impossible to predict or catch. The machine patrol was destroyed without losing a single Valerian fighter. Lisa Carter had set up medical stations throughout the fleet, but she was doing more than just healing wounds. She was teaching Valerian doctors how human medicine could work with alien biology in unexpected ways. Pain is information, she explained to Dr. Vox, a Valerian surgeon. But sometimes the body lies. Human medicine teaches us to listen to what the patient's whole system is saying, not just the obvious symptoms. Her techniques kept wounded Valerian crews fighting longer and returning to battle faster. Ships that should have been destroyed limped back to her medical stations and were soon ready for combat again. But Lisa's greatest contribution was psychological. She helped traumatized soldiers understand that being afraid did not make them weak. Fear, she taught them, could be a weapon if they learned to use it properly. Scared soldiers think faster and react quicker, she told a group of shell-shocked veterans. The machines do not understand fear, so they cannot use it. That gives us an advantage. Ben Wilson had turned the asteroid fields around Valerian space into a maze of deadly surprises. Every floating rock potentially hid one of his inventions. Machine ships trying to navigate the area never knew if they would trigger an explosion, a gas cloud that disabled their sensors, or a device that made their own weapons fire backward. The key, Ben explained to Valerian demolition experts, is not to build the biggest bomb. It is to build the most surprising bomb. His students learned to think like artists instead of engineers. They created explosives that sang beautiful music while destroying enemy ships, devices that turned machine ammunition into confetti, and traps that made enemy computers display embarrassing messages instead of tactical data. The psychological effect was devastating. Machine units began hesitating before entering any area where humans might have been active. They wasted time and resources scanning for traps that might not even exist. Most importantly, the 5 humans had taught the Valerian Empire something precious: how to hope when everything seemed hopeless. General Lyra received a message from Emperor Korath: the machine advance has stopped. For the first time in 50 years, they are retreating from some sectors. Whatever your humans are teaching us, it is working. As she watched the Prometheus dart between enemy ships like a minnow among sharks, Lyra smiled. She had asked for an army and received 5 humans and 1 battered ship. Somehow, that was turning out to be enough. The final battle began at dawn over the planet Nexus Prime. Machine ships filled the sky like dark clouds, their weapons charging for one last assault on the Valerian capital. But something was different this time. The Valerian fleet did not line up in neat rows to meet them. Instead, they scattered across space like seeds in the wind. Captain Jack Miller sat in the cramped bridge of the Prometheus, watching his tactical display with satisfaction. 3 months ago, the Valerian fleet had fought like a textbook. Now they moved like water, flowing around enemy positions and striking where the machines least expected. All units, this is Miller, he spoke into his communicator. Remember what we practiced. The machines think they know how this battle will go. Let's prove them wrong. The machine army had calculated every possible outcome. Their computers showed a 97% chance of victory. They had more ships, better weapons, and superior technology. Logic said they could not lose. Logic was about to get a very painful lesson. The first surprise came when the Valerian ships did not attack the machine battle line. Instead, they dove toward the planet's surface, using the gravity well to accelerate to impossible speeds. The machines followed, exactly as Jack had predicted they would. Now, Tom Bradley whispered, pulling the Prometheus into a dive that should have torn the ship apart. Hidden in the planet's asteroid belt, Ben Wilson's latest creation activated. He had spent weeks building what he called space mines, but they were nothing like normal explosives. These devices created gravity distortions that grabbed machine ships and flung them into each other like toys. The neat machine formation became a tangle of colliding metal. Ships crashed into their own allies while trying to avoid the gravity traps. Their perfect coordination was broken in minutes. Impossible, Unit Commander 7742 transmitted to the central network. Our tactical computers did not predict this scenario. Adapt battle plan, came the response. But before the machines could reorganize, Dr. Emma Foster's electronic warfare began. Every machine ship suddenly received thousands of fake orders from their own command network. Some were told to retreat, others to attack their own allies, still others to shut down their weapons for maintenance. The human-modified Valerian systems had infiltrated the machine network like a virus, spreading confusion faster than the central computers could contain it. Machine ships began firing at each other, unsure which orders were real. Lisa Carter was coordinating rescue operations, but her medical knowledge had found another use. She had studied machine psychology and discovered their weakness. They feared being damaged because repairs took them away from the collective network. Attention machine units, her voice broadcast across all frequencies. This is Dr. Carter of Earth. I want you to know that we have developed a new weapon. It does not destroy you quickly. Instead, it damages your communication systems slowly. You will lose contact with your network piece by piece, until you are alone and confused. It was a lie. No such weapon existed. But the machines did not know that, and the fear of isolation made them hesitate at critical moments. Ben Wilson laughed as he watched his explosives work. The machines had adapted to his normal bombs, so he had built ones that did not explode at all. Instead, they released tiny robots that crawled inside machine ships and rearranged the wiring. Weapons stopped working, engines ran backward, and life support systems began playing human music instead of recycling air. Confusion is better than destruction, Ben explained to his Valerian students over the radio. A dead enemy stops fighting. A confused enemy fights your other enemies for you. Tom Bradley pushed the Prometheus through maneuvers that defied physics. The old ship groaned and sparked, but it danced between machine weapons like it was alive. He led enemy fighters on chases through the asteroid field, where Ben's traps waited for them. This is impossible, one machine pilot transmitted. How does he know where we will fire before we know ourselves? Tom grinned. Because I am not thinking about where you will fire. I am thinking about where you will not fire, and going there first. The battle raged for hours, but slowly the tide turned. Machine ships, designed to fight predictable enemies, could not adapt to chaos. They began making mistakes, shooting at shadows, wasting ammunition on fake targets that Emma's electronics created. General Lyra watched from her flagship as the impossible happened. The machine army, undefeated for 50 years, began to retreat. Not in organized formations, but in panic. Their perfect logic had been shattered by human illogic. General, her communications officer reported, "We are receiving a transmission from the Machine Central Command." The message was simple: we do not understand. How do 5 organic beings defeat 10 million units? Jack Miller's voice answered, by not trying to be perfect. By not following the rules. By being human. The machine army retreated from Valerian space, their programming unable to process what had happened. They had lost not because they were weak, but because their greatest strength, logical thinking, had become a weakness when facing opponents who refused to be logical. Emperor Korath stood in his throne room as the 5 humans were brought before him. The great hall was filled with celebrating Valerian citizens, all wanting to see the legendary warriors who had saved their empire. "You asked me to find you an army," General Lyra said to her emperor. "Instead, I found you teachers." Jack Miller stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we did not defeat the machines with superior weapons or numbers. We taught your people something more valuable, how to think differently." "And what will you do now?" the emperor asked. Emma Foster smiled. "We would like to stay, if you will have us. Your people are quick learners, but there is always more to discover when you combine human creativity with Valerian knowledge." The Prometheus, battle-scarred but proud, was given a place of honor in the Imperial fleet. The 5 humans became advisors, teaching a new generation of Valerian officers that the best way to win an impossible fight was to make it possible through sheer stubbornness and creativity. Years later, when other species asked how the mighty machine army was defeated, the answer was always the same: they met humans.